Ladies and gentlemen, Your Highness, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everybody. On the behalf of His Excellency Jamal Al-Saidi, the manager of the Research Center, it's my pleasure to welcome you all in this symposium about the Saudi media between change and evolution, which is a part of the symposium that is organized by the Center under the title The Arabic Media 2020. We start by the welcoming speech by His Excellency Dr. Jamal Al-Saidi, the manager of the Research Center, presented by, on his behalf, Ms. Mabalushi. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate, ladies and gentlemen, welcome all. I would like to welcome you at our Center for Emirates Research and in UAE, which is celebrating this year by the readiness of for 50s. I would like to thank you for coming to our Symposium 2020. It's under the title The Reality of the Saudi Media Between Change and Evolution, and discusses the media, Saudi media for 2030 and the image for the future and the present, and the importance of the media in the light of the social changes in the kingdom. And it's our pleasure to welcome in the symposium by the elite of the media and chief editors to discuss the media in Saudi Arabia between change and evolution. And they recognize the Saudi media experience in improving its structure under the light of the importance of this experience and its impact on the Arabic media. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Highness and Excellencies, this symposium is part of 2020 vision, and is also as part of our belief that this is quite important step, and the importance of the Arabic media, particularly the new media, which plays a very important and pivotal role that is witnessed by all over the world under the fourth industrial revolution, particularly with the artificial intelligence. And this symposium discusses the Arabic media and foreseeing the future and recognizing the challenges and opportunities. And this symposium is taking part under participated by many media experts, and they're recognizing the impacts of the media in the Arabic societies and considering the challenges that our region is facing. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, the late development we have witnessed in the Arabic media is oblige us to discuss those challenges. And I'm quite confident that this symposium, discussing the very vital and pivotal issues, will present very deep and profound visions for the Arabic media, and particularly Saudi media. Finally, it's my pleasure to welcome you all in UAE, and we hope you the best staying and pleasant staying, and greetings all. Thanks and appreciation to His Excellency Jamal Al-Saidi for this speech. It's unfortunately that the Abdullah Dakhil has apologized for not coming, the ambassador of the Saudi Arabia, that he was not able to come today, and to start our symposium today between challenges and changes, and start the speech by Murad Broushi, the acting director of the UAE Federation's Library, and would like to welcome Murad al-Broushi to come over to the podium.
Bismillah.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, greetings all. Would like to welcome you all in this symposium about the Arabic media between change and challenges and evolution. Media has a great impact on many aspects of development, particularly the intellectual part and social part and the economical part as well as other aspects. Media is a message. Media is a main partner for developing and countries and nations and as well as Saudi media, since its inception and it's the era of King of Abdulaziz, has accompanied the development of the Saudi Arabia. Today, the scene quite different. The media has changed. The tools that media tools has changed. The the media tools have changed. The style changed. The scene on the land, on the ground has changed. There have been many changes, and there have been many enormous changes for many aspects of our life, intellectually, culturally, economically, socially, as well as many other aspects. The king has a very quite ambitious plan for 2020 that encompasses many projects and potentials, and that will make the kingdom more developed and more flourished. We should not forget that the kingdom, Saudi Arabia, is on the process of a very important historical event, which is the meeting of the 2020 meetings in November, this November. We hope for the Saudi Arabia and for this event more and more shining and flourishing and success. The kingdom is witnessing a new era, new ambitions, new hopes, and new achievements that we could see on the ground. So I wonder, how can the media, Saudi media in particular, utilize those opportunities and those achievements and those events to draw an amazing picture for the Saudi Arabia that is glaring and amazing and beautiful? Certainly, certainly this symposium will be a very rich one, particularly with the participants of our meeting. Those participants will draw a comprehensive image about Saudi Arabia. Allow me at the beginning to introduce the participants of this symposium. Mr. Ali Alayani, the editor-in-chief and host Al Arabian TV channel, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He will talk about the efforts of Saudi Arabia media in the vision of the Saudi Arabia 2030. And I would like also to welcome Saud Al-Rais, the chief editor of the Al-Haya in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf. He will present a paper about the mental image about the kingdom, the past, the present, and the future. I'd like to welcome Mr. Saud to the platform. Thank you very much for introducing me. As well as I would like to welcome bin Kammi, the assistant editor-in-chief of assisting Al-Awsat International newspaper, United Kingdom. He will talk about the importance of the awareness, media awareness, in the light of the changes and challenges in the society. I'd like to welcome you. Thanks you for welcoming me. And I would like also to welcome the Emirates Research Center. Also, I'd like to welcome Mohammed Al-Harithi, General Supervisor of the Saudi Media Forum, Editor-in-Chief Sayyidati and Al-Rajul magazine. He will talk about the image of the other in the Arabian media. I'd like to welcome you. Thank you very much for welcoming me, and thanks for this opportunity. I'd like to start this session by Ali Alayani. Kindly take the mic. Thank Mr. Murad, and thanks for the Research Center for inviting me and for paying attention to this important element. The topic is quite crucial and important, particularly for the media in the light of this kingdom. We have many challenges for the media. Is the role of media is there a new term that emerged lately, which is the developing media, which is the performance for the opposition. Whether is the media a partner? Is it assessing the performance? There are many questions that were asked lately about the role of the media. Let's talk about what is the vision based on what. It's based on many elements. There are three pillars, very important pillars for that the media or the vision based on. The kingdom is the host for the two holy sites, Also, the kingdom is enriched with the very powerful investment potentials and very robust and very diverse economy. Third, the kingdom has a very good strategical location. It's the fundamental, it's the site of the international trade. It links between many continentals. And also, we have very ambitious country and we have very vital society. Are the three pillars that we talked about earlier, which is a very ambitious country, very flourished economy, and a vital society. Based on this is the base of this is the foundation of our vision. Saudi Arabia is the center of the Arab world, and it has a very great potential investment potentials, and it tries hard to enhance its position internationally and regionally and locally. In other words, the kingdom vision is aiming at forming a new developing vision based on the opening to the world. There are many people in the world that they have visions and goals. However, but the kingdom vision is facing many challenges. And the most important element of the 2030 vision is the sense of the local Saudi that there have been changes in his country, and it could feel those changes socially, economically, and this is very vital and important. In addition to that, we have a developing strategy that's aiming towards human resources and utilizing human resources, aiming at the vision aiming at achieving the environmental, technological, and human resources vision. So the vision believes in the challenges. The new project, for instance, is a very important project, and many people try to discourage us, but life goes on, and the kingdom sees the vision as a way to deal with the strategic challenges, and it has a very important strategic vision to considering the challenges all over the world. In addition to that, many projects have been, there have been 13 projects for improve the quality of life, in addition to other programs that related to the financial and privatization. The question that have been asked, what is the role what role media can play to activate this vision? The first is to unify the spirit of kingdom. Any great leader in the world, he has to have a dream, and that dream, if it can be achieved 70%, would be great. And I believe in our vision will achieve more. Therefore, in the media works within that frame, we have pointed out that there should be a budget for the media, a budget that enhances the media. And this is quite fair for the media to enhance the image and the vision to everybody in the Saudi Arabia, and to develop the planning and developing planning as per the governance. And also we have created a new government center to enhance the image of Saudi Arabia locally, regionally, and internationally, to enhance the sense of pride for the local people, to ensure the adoption of the local people taking part in those projects. Also, we can talk about the media as a partner for any success for the government, and the most important tools to enhance the strategical thinking. And if you talk about 2030 vision, we have many challenges that we need to tackle and we need to address. And the media should play a role in terms of tackling, addressing those challenges. One of them, facing the vital or brutal attack. When you talk about the brutal attack, it's diverse. There are people who have the right to criticize, objective criticism. There is no problem with that. However, there are people who they create impact. There is a brutal criticism or discouragement, and this issue And the vision is aware of those people who have ill intention, and therefore we need to raise awareness among people about those people who have ill intention when they criticize or point out any misgivings or shortcomings. Unless you present evidence, then your criticism is not vital, does not stand. And to enhance the positive image of you, as we should be proud of ourselves, and media plays a very vital role in terms of enhancing the positive image of Saudi people for their country and on many different levels. And that pride is, in fact, it impacts and reflects on the neighboring countries because they are partners. In addition to that, the importance of enhancing or paralyzing our achievements, we need to address ourselves. If we, for example, if I'm a part of the elite, we need to talk about the elite, but we need to address people, all aspects of all walks of life, to go to that simple person. And this is one of the challenges. And also facing the changes and obstacles related to the damaging culture. And this tool is one of the most important tools for the enhancing and achieving the 2030 goals. And it's indispensable. Please give me time. I don't want to take too long. I have 20 minutes. I promise I won't take too long. And about the vision and the media, and the third paper, the media plays a very important and supervisory role for the private companies and combating corruption, and is independent, and it does not is not biased. Certainly, the talk about fighting corruption was a message for society. However, when Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz, the crown prince, when he applied the directory of the king, the issue of fighting corruption has become real, and it started from the top of the pyramid, not from the bottom of the pyramid. Everybody remembers that the new things that took place on all aspects of related to fighting corruption. There was a distinguished person who has experienced today. The talk about corruption is not talk about just only to mislead people or to satisfy people. It become real, and we have become proud of this file. We become proud of the success and achievement that we achieved in terms of fighting corruption. And I will send a greeting to the king, the crown prince, for the achievement he achieved in terms of fighting corruption. This is one of the most important elements that makes us satisfied and happy about the 2030 vision. Here we start. The vision and the media, they're quite linked and correlates in terms of following up the supervising and monitoring the performance. And we have an entity to measure the performance, which is a distinguished entity. Assigning an ambassador is not a present or gift. It's not a favor. It's not a picnic. Assigning a minister is a big task and a very hard work. And our ministers in Kingdom, they work 18 to 16 hours hard work. And also the one who behind him works the same. So measuring the achievement that is being achieved by the different entities within the kingdom governments. I'll go back to what concerned me in terms of media, what is dealing with people. We addressed many issues for the Saudi people. I called that program With the People, with the Saudi people. And the minister himself works for the people, for the Saudi people, and that does not undermine the dignity or the role of the minister. All ministers should work hard to the benefit of the Saudi people, to structuring our government and fighting unemployment, and the comprehensive support so the local Saudi people will not feel isolated. The digital economy and governance, and this is very important, and we are working towards achieving those goals in international sense, and that is not importance, but our banking sector, one of the most important countries in the world in terms of our banking sector, and our services is comprehensive, and we provide services to the public by online. Through this hard work, we managed to host elite and decision makers who discuss and enrich the discussion, and we host brave, courageous professionals who can perform on the field, and people who are not worried or concerned about critical questions or unanswerable questions. In a study, there was a study for some researchers about the foreseeing future of the kingdom, 2030. We get to a conclusion that the most important obstacles or challenges for the vision is the performance, which we are working on, and the gap between the theory and practice for 2030, and the shortcomings in some legislations and applying the vision, the shortcoming coming from the resistance, and this with the time we can overcome it. The most important recommendations that we reached is setting up centers, research centers for Saudi Arabia, launching awareness campaign for 2030 and its goals in partnership with the media, and supporting the quantitative search. In fact, this topic is open for discussion, and I believe that there is no need to launch more awareness campaigns. In other words, we need a robust media that influences the policy and decision makers, and also objective discussion. I would like to highlight this point. When we got that vision, many people were enemies for that vision. There was a gap. However, the worst is people who claim to be supportive for 2030 without doing anything on the ground. There are many elements accumulated over the time that haven't been addressed. And we would come people who would say, we are for the vision, we work this for the vision, but he has nothing to do with the vision. And there are people who open a new project, cupcake, and this is part of 2030, or someone who comes and says, this project is not working anymore, but we are in the process of achieving it to 2030. Those people damage the vision, and the media should expose them. But those people, if they continue doing what they do, with claiming to be supportive of the vision without doing anything on the ground, they disfigure and damage the vision. So the media, we should fight those people. At the same time, we have to support the vision. However, the most important thing is we need to be partners of achieving this vision. In other words, if there is anyone who doesn't apply the ideas of the vision, the media will have the right to criticize and expose him. And this is a professional and duty, and this is not a betrayal to the vision. In the contrary, our leadership is in line with us. I would like to show the video, which is a few minutes. In general, the economical plans is a response to stop those people who discourage us, and our media proves beyond the shadow of a doubt that opportunities are valid. There are many people who thought that Aramco, Muhammad said in many events, that people would think the enemy, the media for the enemy, the decision has been made about Aramco, and there is a risk that it can't be exposed unless we have the governmental media concerning the international or national visions. As I pointed out earlier, there are people who who will either they have ill intention or bad intention who might harm our vision. And this is as the proverb, as the saying goes, better to have a reasonable enemy than to have a fool friend. I would like to challenge you. I challenge you to bring me a single Saudi Arabia people. I challenge everybody. Bring me a single local Saudi Arabia to object. The remaining of the road. There are Benghazi. We have 2030 vision. You have a vision, but you don't do anything. You have nothing to do with the vision. That vision is embarrassed by you. 30 years, we ask for a road. For many years, we ask the officials in our transport department to set up a road straight. If we need schools. If we have emergency, we cannot get to the hospital because there is no road. This is an example. For those people who are enemies of the visions. They say a project that hasn't been in place for 30 years, and they claim it to do with the vision. Each individual, each people in charge has to abide by the vision and the way it performs and the way it works. Otherwise, that official will have to leave. Thank you very much. Thank you for the Research Center, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you, Mr. Ali, for this amazing presentation about the Saudi Vision 2030. I would like to thank you for watching the time, and now move on to the Mr. Saud Al-Rayes, the Al-Hay'a Chief Editor for Saudi Arabia. He will present his paper under the title, The Mental Image of the Kingdom, the Past, the Present, and the Future. Please take the... Good morning, everybody. The title, in fact, carries many elements and talks about the mental image about Saudi Arabia, past, future, and present. There is no doubt there are many things that could be said about that. However, I will address the main elements that draw the image of the Saudi Arabia. The common perception about Saudi Arabia for the last few years, for the 70s in particular, Saudi Arabia used to be perceived when the Faisal Kingdom announced that he will stop the supply of petrol to the west. The perception for Saudi Arabia after that announcement that it's a petrol it's a petrol only. Oil, Bedouins in the desert, they own some petrol, and this used to be the perception that was enhanced in the West and all over the world, particularly after the step that was taken. There was a focus on their attention to the kingdom and rereading for the image of the kingdom from all many aspects. Kingdom used to be a very new emerging country, and they can consider the kingdom in the 70s was at the initial stages. We started focusing on the movement within the kingdom. There have been many mechanisms, many aspects of life that was evaluated and assessed, and the media enhanced an image and focused on many aspects. For example, women used to become one of the tools that used to be utilized in a very bad manner. The differences, the West had no idea about Islam or the culture, therefore their perception about women was absolutely wrong. So in the West, they didn't understand Islam till today. They employed our culture against us, and they exaggerated about many things. That women is she cannot issue its passport without the approval of her parents. That movement represents disfiguring the image of the Saudi Arabia. And we are, as a Gulf countries, the West was difficult to understand within our culture. In the light of those challenges, to draw this image, we got also 11 September event, and that in fact it was a crime for the Arabic world and the Arabic Islamic world. It was a shock, and it shocked the entire planet. We used to talk about certain Muslim people who committed that atrocity, and Saudi people who have committed that atrocity, and that there's no doubt that was promoted in a very bad manner, and that enhanced the bad mental image about Saudi Arabia. If we reconsider that in the West, they reconsidered the way they deal with the Islamic groups, and the media played a very important role in that regard. In this stage, at that stage, unfortunately, we still till today in the kingdom, we're still at that stage. We used to have the Gulf countries paid attention to its own place, to own issues. The the Gulf used to be isolated. The West, the Arabic, other Arabic countries were isolated, were concerned with their own issues. Sham, for example, other Arabic countries, Jordan and Syria and Lebanon, they had their own issues. Therefore, the media was disintegrated, wasn't unified. Egypt was the only country that could be a pivotal link between the Arabic world, whether in Africa or in the Gulf or in the other part of the Arabic world. That used to be the scene, and that used to be the image of the Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia was was obliged to follow that image. It was a very critical stage for the kingdom. The media wasn't able to deal with. The media was confused because the scene was confusing. I'm talking about the aftermath of the 11th September. From that point of view, we started establishing a decision, whether in the West or on the Arabic world or in the GCC countries. We started the operation, the work, a professional media. We never had any Arabic media. That environment created a new media at the pinnacle, at the top of the internet, and were portrayed the event of 11th September, and that created the movement for the Arabic media. Now, if we talk about the present, what is the perception about the kingdom currently? In fact, this currently, it's not as complicated as the past, or it is as complicated as the past. As my colleague pointed out in his speech for our Vision 2030, we have a resonance, we have movement in terms of fighting corruption. Fighting corruption used to be one of the issues that impacted on our aspects of life. Like many criticisms related to the fighting corruptions was politicized. The issue of fighting corruption had nothing to do with policy, but it was politicized. On the other hand, the street people in the Arabic people believed that the king and the crown prince did the right thing, We have seen demonstration from many countries supporting the initiative that launched by Crown Prince in terms of fighting corruption, and that gives us an image and gives us an idea about the Crown Prince movement when we took over. My apologies. The economical reforms. There is no doubt that the economical reform is not being portrayed in the world, is not portrayed in it's not reflected in the Western media as it should be. We disfigure and misrepresent the economical reform that has been taking place in the kingdom. And we cannot cover it all here, but there is no doubt that today the kingdom is a country, is a pivotal and central country in the media. It's a country that still, and many other countries, still is far from the political movement that was witnessed by many Arabic countries in the Arabic Spring. In other words, there is a pressure to blackmail our country. The kingdom still stands and works hard to change the image that have been portrayed and promoted all over the world about itself. Today we have the many projects like the distinguished residence. We have a young, strong, robust country. They used to talk about the kingdom about a country that is backward. But today the kingdom is young, and the leaders and people, everybody is young. We see ministers who are young, young people are taking and playing role in terms of developing our country. And this is, but transferring the image is not for us. We are amazed, we are surprised why the current positive image in Saudi Arabia is not fairly and objectively portrayed all over the world. And this is causing confusion and puzzlement. At the end of the day, it's for our advantage, it's also for everybody's advantage to be objective and fair. We didn't see the support that we would expect from the world. When we arrested some extremists, the kingdom was criticized for arresting those extremists. The women driving, it was very important. The issue of driving women, about human rights activists politicized this issue to the advantage of some Western regime to blackmail Saudi Arabia. No, women can drive and travel. We never seen that impact that they used to call. The issue here, we don't have media currently that able to transfer the image to outside the world. The news or events that taking place within the kingdom, they taking place by agents, portrayed by agent, the French news agents, colleagues who work in the media have the ability to distinguish between true or false news, some bad and good news, and those, so we can ignore some news. Reuters, for example, in UAE or Saudi Arabia, you would find good or bad news, but you never see any agent, an Arabic agent, that could discuss the image of Saudi Arabia in the other Arabic countries. Other Arabic countries take their news about Saudi Arabia from other resources, from other agents. There is no doubt that there are people with interests that they work to disfigure the image of the Saudi Arabia. And how partial, how unbiased you are is also a question that we need to ask. If we talk about the future, how the perception of the future of perception of Saudi Arabia. In the future, Saudi is working hard to become a natural country, no more, no less. Try to be like other countries. A citizen, so citizen lives with dignity and honor, providing job opportunities, providing health services and education. Saudi is looking to become is like any other country, but the ambitions, the speed which is we achieved this, created gaps in the Arabic scene. Therefore, some people couldn't understand or comprehend. The challenge here, we go back to the other point. If we talk about the media, and later on, I still have 4 minutes, I'll address the media later on, about the media and the challenges it faces. The image, the perception that is for Saudi Arabia, we see the seasons. We've got 10 million visitors. We hosted celebrities from all over the world, artists, music band. Saudi Arabia is invited them to see by their own eyes what is happening in the ground and to compare it with what the media portrays. And they worked around the access to the kingdom wasn't difficult. We organized a platform for the Saudi media. Mohammed Harthi pointed out the media, the platform. Earlier, the journalists hadn't been able to attend. This hasn't been the case. The platform hosted more than 1,000 speakers from outside the kingdom, from European countries or American countries, from the East Asia. All those people came and they saw by their own eyes how is the situation on the ground. I believe the question is how to open the Western media to come over to kingdom and reflect the reality. I won't take too long. I have a short clip I'd like to share with you, and then I will address the media. Please go ahead and play the video. At the beginning, a message used to fly. We send it by a knight who takes our message. Our words. Write it by ink and editing. We grow, and the world is listening to us through our radio, and we've got the TV, and the clear image, and the genuinity and originality. Today, we have diverse tools. Everyone has his own way. We have internet. Our world also has its impact. Thank you very much. This is a short clip about the media movement within Saudi Arabia Kingdom. Now, everybody knows. We can go back anytime. I will not address that, the inception of the Saudi media. What matters to me, what concerns me, that the Saudi media is applicable to anything, to like newspaper or media in general. The media is no longer the fourth power. Today, the fourth power, I can say it's the social media is the fourth power in Saudi Arabia. It's not the press, it's the paper. Even the new media that we can talk about, when you talk about new media today, I no longer think that the old media is applicable anymore. the number of the newspapers all over the world are like 400 million newspaper, 400 million read by many people. The number will exceed 1 billion, whereas 5 billion people using social media. The issue here, the governments, the GCC countries, including Saudi Arabia, has given space for social media, and we overlook the conventional media. The conventional media, even if it was, should be supported. We cannot overlook the importance of conventional media, because it has the many institutions. The conventional institution couldn't talk about the language social media. It uses social media, but it cannot play the role of social media. It covers, but still can do any conventional method, but the last voice has the social media, has the voice. Therefore, the newspaper or the conventional method couldn't achieve big success in terms of competing with the social media. The governments is obliged to preserve the conventional media, because those institutions, diverse and different than the social media, it trains, it utilizes human resources. There are assets for like printing and devices, and unlike the social media. In other words, the media should support the conventional media, and there have been many occasions, because we are the strong arm that could exceed the outside the border. But the social media has impact within the borders, but the conventional media could reach outside or beyond the borders. I wish you all the best. I hope I present you with something new, and thanks for listening to me.
شكرا للأستاذ سعود الريس على هذه.
Thank you very much for Mr. Saud Al-Rayes. And now we move to Mr. Zaid bin Kamia, Assistant Editor-in-Chief for Sharq Al-Awsat International Newspaper, United Kingdom, and he will speak to us about the importance of media awareness amid social change in Saudi Arabia. Mr. Sir, the floor is yours. At the start, in the name of Allah, I would like to thank the ECSSR for this kind invitation to speak today about the Saudi media and the reality, especially within the changes that Saudi Arabia now is witnessing. My speech will be about the media awareness in Saudi Arabia. The question is there a change now in Saudi Arabia? Definitely yes. Why? Because there's two inspiring leaders, King Salman and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Vision 2030 was launched, and it carries many programs and plans that covers all the aspects in Saudi Arabia, economical aspects, social, political. And when it was launched in 2016, it was a message from Saudi Arabia to the community internally and externally that there is a big change in Saudi Arabia, and this change will have great impact in the community, in the economical aspect. And King Salman, when he spoke about it and when he launched it, he spoke that my first target to make my country a model in success, and I will work together to achieve this. And now, after 4 years, in 2020, which is one of these programs for the national change. This vision, based on the strength of Saudi Arabia and how it deals with the world. As my colleague mentioned, Mr. Ali, why this vision? Saudi Arabia has the holy sites and also the strategic location. It's in Asia, but also it's connecting the three continents, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Also, it has got investment strength. It's a member in the G20. Also, the internal production is very important and very great, especially in producing the oil. So it's a big investment strength. The question, if there's a change now in Saudi Arabia, what about the awareness? What about the role of the media in this change and how it can help in raising the awareness and spreading it within the internal community or even on the international stage? Actually, to have an awareness, we need to identify the mechanisms to transfer all these messages to the world. If we talk about media in Saudi Arabia currently, there is major changes in media. Even the tools and the methods is different now to transfer the media message. And the Saudi media managed to cope up with this stage and to make use of these tools, the modern tools in media. If we spoke also about the most important methods, like the traditional methods, or even the current use tools, it's social media. Saudi Arabia is not isolated from the world. These tools is used all over the world, and we are part of this world. So, when we see the number of users for the internet, the community or even the population, they are all using these internet websites, and 70% of the community, they are using social media platforms. So the important roles, how to use these tools, to use social media platforms, and also educate and raise the awareness and transfer the messages to the community. When I get back and I read the Vision 2030 and the Transform Plan, it carried 12 programs, which is the National Transform. The word awareness has been mentioned more than 1,000 times, and also media more than 600 times, and that indicates that media is a partner in raising awareness and transfer the message, especially within this time where the change is happening in Saudi Arabia, and transfer the message to the international stage that there's a change now. When this vision has been laid down by His Highness King Salman, media is the important partner to raise awareness and to transfer that. Because media will transfer this vision and also convince them to apply the change. When we get back and talk about the modern revolution, especially when we talk about the current modern media, these are the tools that's used now. And it was a success in using these. These numbers discover that the use of modern technology is great now. More than 5 billion, they are using these platforms, and that indicates the importance of it. Around the world, Facebook, more than 2 billions. Instagram also great numbers. And these numbers, they are speaking about the importance of these tools and can transfer your message and raise the awareness in the community. When we say how we can raise the awareness, and we know the role of media to transfer the message to the community, I want to speak about the Saudi community, because these changes created social movement. Yes, media, this is very important regarding education, health, also the community, the culture. This is very important. When I speak about the use of social media, I found social media platforms, and also people say it's traditional. No, it's not traditional, because it's available for everybody, and also it's important to use it and lead these initiatives. Currently in Saudi Arabia, the number of users, as we said, the population now more than 30 million, they are using these platforms. 72% they are using WhatsApp. Instagram 36%, Snapchat 46%. These numbers, they are speaking, and they are very important to transfer the message outside. Also, when we speak about the TV channels, people say this is traditional. No, it's not traditional. These are available media tools, and they are playing a great role. The number of TV now, and even the news websites. It's very important to have these. We are talking now 62% of users for the internet, they are using these news websites. This is very important to transfer the message and raise the awareness. If I want to speak about media, how it can raise the awareness within the community and also educate them about the vision, the change that happened, it's comprehensive. It wasn't only economically. It includes also cultural, social, and religion also. It's not changing the religion itself, but also clarifying the picture. We can remember that the conditions that people were strict in applying the Islam instructions, and when His Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, he said, we will face all extremism in Saudi Arabia. That was very important message, and was clearly transferred by media. Also, in the cultural aspect, media raised the awareness regarding the heritage and culture we have in Saudi Arabia, and how Saudi Arabia playing a great role in the national and international stage. So what is the raising awareness message that media is transferring within all these changes that's happening currently in Saudi Arabia? I reckon, within my reading for the vision and also for the change in Saudi Arabia, that's happened in all aspects. The vision has many initiatives. It's not only one, two. It's a toolkit of initiatives. Some of them has been announced, but there is a great number not announced yet, because they are under study and they will be launched soon. So it carry great part in raising awareness regarding health, regarding sport, regarding the community. So I want to get back again to the role of media about educating people about for the Vision 2030. presenting the achievements currently happening, and that will change the Saudi character. It's mentioned in the 2030 vision. So shaping the Saudi character in order to educate the community about the importance, about the achievement that have been done in the community. Also the environmental issues. We talk about projects in Saudi Arabia like NEOM, like Mala, like also the Red Sea, or even in Riyadh. All these environmental issues. This is the core of the Vision 2030. Also, media has great roles to talk about how to protect our environment, also enabling and empowering women, like driving or even recruitment. These are important issues. Also, focus on the strength of the character within the Saudi women's nutrition, the requirements for the community, and also the culture, how to use the internet. Now it's very important. We need to be literate about how to use these internet tools. I want to get back about 2030 vision. As I mentioned, 12 programs. Number 13 is the national transfer. It has many initiatives. And each program has great toolkit of initiatives where media is a great partner within these initiatives to educate the community and to force them and encourage them to participate. If we mention the quality of life, very important program, and that cover many aspects of the population, individually and also on the group level. Saudi Arabia government and the leaders, King Salman, Prince Mohammed, when he launched this vision, they were very serious to achieve this vision. Regarding the programs, when we talk about the quality of life, it includes constructing Media City, and that was announced a few weeks ago. Why Media City in Saudi Arabia? To support media, to support the international media, training, publishing, all these aspects. So when we say these initiatives need to be published in the community and to make them understand why we need this media city, what is the importance of that, because that will create jobs, that will also improve our communication with international entities. Other programs talking the foreigners who are the expat working in Saudi Arabia. So it's not only for the locals, also for the expat. So when we speak about these programs, it's not a program, but one of the initiatives under the National Transform for 2030. How to embed all the expat working and living in the community and within the Saudi community. And it has been used within the social media in different languages. So we are using here the traditional media and also the non-conventional media. So it's targeting not only the locals, but also the expats who are living and working in English, in other languages. Because they are living within us, and there's many of them working in Saudi Arabia. So we need to raise their awareness and also include women within the working force and raising awareness for the Saudi women to participate in the job market. Numbers say 36% for unemployment within women in Saudi Arabia. But regarding men, it's only 7%. So there is a huge gap. And we need to encourage the women to go to the workforce. And before that, we need to educate the community. The women will go to the recruitment sector, and we need to pave the way for that, for her to be an effective member of the community in Saudi Arabia. Also, like the health sector, we have seen health sector launch different initiatives 2030, and it's also part of this, like nutrition. The Ministry of Health launched a program for the number of calories in food, and the restaurants were forced to declare the number of calories in food. So that's increased the health awareness, and also for people. Raising awareness is important, especially for fighting diseases like diabetes or even blood pressure. Part of it is the wrong food habits. So fighting this awareness and directed to the community, we need to provide them with the correct information and also involve the media to achieve part of these programs, and also in the health sector. Even for the traffic system, this is part of the vision, and the media played a great role to transfer the message regarding the new traffic rules, the new traffic systems. Even for women driving, now women can drive freely. So we needed to raise the awareness for the community before we adopt these rules. Even in the cars, we need to have baby seats, which is an obligation now. In the past, that wasn't exist. But now, if you want to be an advanced country, you need to pay attention to these new systems, and media, they are the best partner in this regard, in educating the community. Another program, which is organ transplantation. So media has a great role in this regard to educate our community, and also raise the awareness regarding this vision and the importance and the great interest it will reflect in this community. There is a huge amount of progress that in the way in all sectors for the locals and the expat. So it's a huge topic to speak about, and it needs a great research regarding raising awareness. I just wanted to share with you some points, and thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Zaid bin Kammi, for this paper. And now I invite Mr. Muhammad Al-Harithi, the General Supervisor of Saudi Forum and the Editor-in-Chief for Sayyidati and Al-Rajul magazine, who will speak about the Saudi portal of other cultures.
In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful, thanks to the Research Center and the Research Center, for thanks also to His Excellency Jamal Suwaidi, and thanks also to the UAE country, the country of bliss and tolerance. In fact, the choice of our topic is quite interesting because the reality of media, and particularly Saudi media, between change and evolution. In fact, maybe there is no country that goes through change, economical and social change, like the kingdom. And that change has impact on all aspects of life, whether it's media or also social. And we know that media is a mirror that reflects society. Any change takes place in society or content reflects the structure of the media. And the other issue I'd like to address, the other issue that any country might go through, When we talk about the other in the media, Saudi media, we would like to ask who's the other. Usually we are obsessed by the other and the way we are perceived by others. And that is a problem that we could face in our society, not only in Saudi Arabia. How we are being perceived by others is considered the most important thing. But I think we shouldn't pay much attention to that issue. We should work according to our values, our norms, and according to our capabilities, we achieve our achievements. And the issue of how we are being perceived is not that crucial. And we shouldn't be oversensitive in terms of how we are being perceived by others. The media should review others. We saw that many studies about how we are being perceived by the West. Very rarely that how we perceive West, because the issue is how we are being perceived. We are obsessed by this issue. We might be emotional and sensitive on the way we deal with criticism, but other society doesn't really pay attention to that criticism. The other issue I'd like to address, who is the other? Is it the other? Is it the West, the East, the enemy? What we mean by other? The other encompasses many things. It cannot be defined by one term. The media also. The media also is no longer has that very powerful, impactful on society. The media used to perform or used to create the social media, or they used to create the general opinion. The media now, like the US, has his own channel and has his own newspaper called Twitter, and all his decisions and his announcements being issued by Twitter and no longer by Twinkle Times or National Post. So the president is using his own channel. In other words, so we might talk about media that is no longer impactful as it used to be, or no longer a tool for change. On the contrary, the media now is impacted by the noise created by social media. If there is noise created by social media, it impacts the media. And the media follows the social media, and those are the challenges or the changes that we've seen over the years. And that reflects the weakness of the foundation of the media. If the media is weak, it becomes perceptive to any social media. Therefore, the media or the people or the public withdraws from the public and goes to the social media because it finds bigger space to share thoughts and ideas. And we talk about the mental image, the typical mental image. The mental typical image is the simple image, the easy image. We as people, as individuals, we are happy with simplicity. We share, we talk to each other. Lebanese is good with public relationship. The Santa people are good with trade. Japanese are good, sincere and loyal to his work. We have this stereotyping. The stereotyping, we are good at stereotyping people, as pointed out. And the first stereotyping, the American writer Neverman, he talks about the applying stereotyping is an image that doesn't come from our personal experience. It comes from the feed of movies, stories, impressions by friends, any other platforms. But our perception or our stereotyping is not based on our experience. If we talk about media in general, when we talk about the image or portrayal of the others, we need to look at, when we look at the Western media, we should have unbiased or biased image, because we are being looked at. We are inferior. We are as if we are inferior to the West. We have this image. We have this perception that the Western media looks at us patronizing us or looks at us as inferior. So like the image of the extremists or terrorists, which was enhanced by the events in London and in US, those events that could create that a single terrorist or extremist might betray the image. So the Western image perceives us as through that lens of a terrorist and an extremist, and which was exaggerated. But we are media person. We criticized the West when they looked at us that way. But we, to be honest ourselves, we do the same mistake. The Arabic media commits the same mistake. Any event, anything happens to the West, we perceive them through that lens. Like what happened in Iraq. When something bad, a crime, a horrendous crime took place in Iraq, we perceive this crime, the cowboy America, it betrays the vindictive and hate. We did the same mistake. That was a single event, bad event, but is done by a certain people, certain entities. We shouldn't generalize and perceive the West as the one who betrayed. When the caricature, when it's that very quite offensive to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and created noise and in the street by the media, we considered that as a conspiracy. But in fact, there was no conspiracy. It was a perception, a different perception. We may agree or disagree, but it's a methodology. It's a different methodology. It believes that it's part of the freedom of the media. We may disagree, but we shouldn't generalize. The generalization is a big mistake. When we blame or criticize the Western media for generalization, we should not do the same mistake, and we shouldn't have the same symptoms and the same. Before we criticize others, we should look at our mistakes. If we remember at earlier stage when Salman Rushdie issued his novel, which is Satanic Verses in the 80s, how the media interacted with that event. Not only the Islamic media, it dealt with it in a way that the West, reviving the crusade, and that novel, Satanic Verses, which really is not worthy of reading, and the author, it became a symbol through the way we dealt with it. The media dealt with it, portrayed it as a big image, and we had demonstrations on the road because of a novel that if it hadn't had that much impact, it would have been forgotten. But the media, we transform a simple thing into a symbol because we are emotional, we are not realistic. And when emotion takes over the brain and the individual, he or she loses the vision. Therefore, if we apply some historical narrative, if anything, we are controlled by emotions, not logic, not reason. And if this continues, we will lose a lot. Because developing media is improving potentials and capabilities. The people who create decisions and influence people, they should be reasonable and logical, not emotional. If those leaders are under the pressure of emotions and feelings and they will make wrong decisions. So the symbols, the decision makers who create symbols are no longer influencing, they are being influenced. I think dealing with crises or disasters is bad management. It's not conflict between civilizations. The conflict between civilizations is an issue that have been discussed over the years between East and the West. And all initiatives, the Central Emirates Center has launched many initiatives about that. A simple issue like an individual or a writer destroys the entire project because of because we are human. We cannot look at ourselves as superior to others. We have mistakes. They have mistakes. We need to be away from. We shouldn't be overacting or interactive. And this symbolic stereotyping, it comes back from the ignorance, because people is not educated deeply and profoundly. Therefore, it's easy to simplify things to portray. For example, the West, we could say the West fights Islam. It's easy. The West fights Islam. Many people will repeat that. But the ignorance creates any rumor, any stereotyping impacts the people and reflects badly. So selective awareness, and this is also another issue in the Arabic or Saudi media, the selective awareness, the journalist will take piece of information that's suitable to his interest or suitable to his political point of view to achieve certain goal. And he overlooks willingly, intentionally, what impacts those. Again. So this is the selective images. When that selective image enhances itself, we build a bad stereotyping. And I believe it's our duty to be realistic, because it's to be honest, and they should transfer the reality as it is, whether it's against or with your interests, to win the trust of people. And so we can be immune. If we go to the West and debate, we shouldn't be conflicting or clashing with different views. This is very crucial, important. We need to focus on the concept of openness, accepting different point of views, and we may disagree with you, but we have to allow everybody to share his or her own view, so we can become immune from criticism from others. I believe if we talk about experiences that we've gone through, particularly the media, Saudi media, I believe it's one of the. There have been many experiences that Saudi media in particular was part of in line with those experiences, and the presence of social media platforms have given a kind of marginalization to the conventional media. The risk is when those platforms being impacted or led by other people who have different agendas, and that could pass on messages and could create conflict, and it's a conventional, a virtual conflict. It's not real one, even from people not within the circle or not within Saudi Arabia. How can we overcome this stereotyping? The first one is our ability to analyze and criticize, accurate criticism, and in the presence of media institutions that work in a very healthy environment, presenting reasonably and responsibly and with freedom. This is the first step, is to fight the stereotyping, to accept others and to accept ourselves. And the other issue is organizing the event to open discussion, to open dialogue, between decision makers and with others, whoever is he or she is, whether East or the West. We need to bridge the gap. We need to build bridges with others to participate in bridging this gap that created because some certain individuals have their own point of views. And the second point I would like to highlight is to highlight the hate speech and racism. If we overlook the hate speech that we direct to the West, we might overlook because it's in line with our interest, but that hate speech will backfire, will impact us. The hate speech that we direct to the West might impact us. We need to fight the hate speech. East, West, we can have that hate speech within our own area. If we go even to the smallest country, like in the Lebanon, we have also hate speech within the same country. Everyone thinks he's a different place. Everybody hates the other. So we need to start this racist hate speech. We need to be aware of that. The hate speech, the racist speech should be undermined. Whenever we allow speech, hate speech, when we allow it, even if it's for another party, that hate speech will backfire and will become against us, because racism and hate speech will become legalized and legitimate tool in our country. So further, we have the ability and we have the power to undermine and detect any hate speech, any racist speech, because it's a disease. If we allow it, it will spread all over the body. The point that I would like also to highlight is the reconciliation. We need to reconcile with ourselves. If we consider ourselves impactful, we need to reconcile within ourselves. We need to reconcile. We need to create peace. A society cannot be successful if it's isolated. Any society cannot be successful if we have imaginary enemy. Our real war is with ignorance, with poverty, with sickness, but to create imaginary enemies, and that doesn't work. And we communicate people and we fight unnecessarily. This is a waste of energy, a waste of time. So our energy should be directed to building, not fighting imaginary enemies. Thank you very much.
شكرا.
Thank you very much to Mr. Muhammad Al-Harithi for this important speech. Our dear honorable guests, through this session, we have reviewed different aspects of the Saudi media, and we talked about the importance of 2030 vision for Saudi Arabia. And it was common in all these speeches. Now we open the floor for more questions from the audience. Yes, sir. Name of Allah, Basim Salama from Syria. The most important trait that we can see it in the Saudi media transfer, it moved from moody stage, traditional stage, to a vision media stage. So it has got a strategy, and that changed the way how events happened, and also how the fourth authority person work without authority. So we have seen the Saudi media has got now power. Also it has got the capability to dialogue, which was prohibited to speak about in the past. I wish you all the best. My point is, regarding the TV channels, unfortunately, still focus on the artistic material, which make it weak. And that is the reason why the Arab world focus on the other side, focus on the Western channels. So I hope to transfer the current situation and give these channels that move from weakness to strength. Thank you very much. I would like to comment. Thank you very much, sir. We haven't suffered from any retardedness in our media. We have limits, yes, in all the different eras that exceed the limits in any other countries. The new in the States, we have a vision now, but the enlightenment existed in the media, in broadcasting, in TVs from long time ago. So I disagree with you regarding your point. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, there. At the beginning, in the name of Allah, thank you very much to Mr. Jamal and for the speakers about this nice symposium. Meitha Al-Ka'bi, my name. I would like to ask about the others and shedding light on them. How can media today, after all this awareness and openness to the world, that can marginalize the other who is not participating in the development of the community or any positive aspect, between the brackets, the people with impact in the community? And we have seen in the Saudi media, you hosted many impact people regardless of age. On the other side, we see that people, they are not prominent, even they are well educated and they can have positive impact in going along with this Vision 2030 in Saudi Arabia, and they can have excellent role to give advice, to guide through the different social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or even SMS. So how we can deal with this impact with the negative people? How we can avoid that? Mr. Muhammad? In fact, when we talk about the others, sometimes they are from outside and sometimes they are from inside. If we speak about the influencers in social media, this is side effects of the change that's happening in the media industry now. When we say influencer, I disagree with this word. The word for influencer is the person creating impact, but people in social media, they are active. They are active in social, but they are not influencers. Because influencing, I will speak about what people, they haven't got the cultural knowledge deep. They are shallow people. So it's like a wave. It will take some time, and after that will evaporate. In any change or any new thing happening in any sector of the community or media, it will be like a fashion for a short time, and after that the good remain and the bad leave, and that's in media. But it will take some time to raise the awareness within the people, to understand this is like bubbles. So the right will remain. Thank you, Doctor. Here I was influencers. I am part of the Parents Council in Ministry of Education. When we see the reality in the community, we find the different behaviors and practices come from these people. For that I say influencer, because they got impact on our generation in GCC countries or even Saudi Arabia. So I hope these are bubbles that will go along and the good will remain. Thank you very much for your speech. Any other questions or comments? The question, please direct your question to any of our speakers. I'm Musa'ad Zayani from Sharq Al-Awsat newspaper in UAE. My question is, I noticed the repetition of social media. Anyone can answer it. for media, is it only in paper? So please explain to us. And my second question is, for the fake news, social media helped a lot in the spread of fake news. So what is the role of the main media to fight fake news? Thank you, Mr. Zaid bin Kammi, for your question. He is my colleague in Sharq al-Awsat newspaper. As my colleague mentioned earlier, regarding what some TV channels present, one of the initiatives in Saudi Arabia, for example, filmmakers to cover the content in the Arab region, especially the entertaining content regarding media, journalism. Media exists, but the tools now is different. And this is my opinion. Tools are different, but for media agencies or entities, they need to follow the new tools available. And when we speak about numbers of users, great numbers, Facebook, more than 2 billion people that are using Facebook platform. So it's a tool to transfer your message, and media has a right to use it. Paper is only an industry, part of the media. And also it has got even internal industry like paper. Media exists, it will continue, it will use advanced tools and also new tools in the future. Thank you very much. Yes, sir, there. Thank you very much. I was happy to attend, and I would like to thank ECSSR. On the Arab level, we need to know more about Saudi Arabia, as in geography, in history, or even in human being. You mentioned the Vision 2030, and you spoke about the 3 pillars, like investing, the religious sites, and the location. And it will be the negotiation on the Arab world regarding the holy sites. Saudi Arabia is sharing that with the others. Is there any, please, explanation about how you can make use of the holy sites? Now there is an international dialogue that other international entities will make use of these holy sites. In this regard, I was surprised last year that there isn't a media response. Maybe there is, but I am not aware of. In Tunisia, the imams, they launched about the money of pilgrimage, how it go to wars. So when we speak about the holy sites, it's not only internal speech, but also it's international, because it involves the others. I want more explanation. Other aspect, to what extent? And here we hear many people talking about different people in Saudi Arabia. They are not agreeing with 2030 vision. So to what extent you can criticize the vision? Also, I am following with the Saudi media, and we can see a lot in this media, and also a space. My question is, regarding this media, it should be clear. And Mr. Ali here, when you speak about the local aspect in Saudi Arabia, that you are part of the Arabic Islamic level. So it's a message for Arab and also Muslims, like our brothers in Malaysia. Also, Mr. Muhammad Al-Harisi, don't you think there is a catastrophe now in the world? The decision makers, how they are now in social media, don't you think this is create problems for media? How we can differentiate between decision making and between media? Thank you very much, Mr. Ali Al-Aliani. I would like to speak. Can you please clarify to me what you meant by the first question? Sorry, I can't hear the speaker. The vision is talking about the holy sites, and Saudi Arabia, as it's a holy place for Muslims, this point especially is a strength for Saudi Arabia, and also it's a dialogue outside of Saudi Arabia. So a lot of people, I will be clear, especially people who are asking Muslims or not Muslims to have international power on these holy sites. I am part of you. I got share of this money from the pilgrimage. So we need to be frank when we speak about it. Because if there is any misplaying with these, it will be catastrophe. And if there is anything outside of the Saudi umbrella, that will also be a problem. I would like to speak geographically. It's in Saudi Arabia, these holy sites. So people who ask for sharing, Saudi Arabia investing and spending a lot in serving the pilgrims. And also the kings, they were named the servants of these pilgrims, and we are proud of that. So all the countries who would like to speak about this issue, they are not succeeding even in organizing a small funeral. So we got bored about speaking about this issue. Our actions speaking louder than our words. Saudi Arabia give the service, invest the money, and when we talk about profits, it's natural. And we are not chasing these profits. For the local things, yes, the world spotlights on local because there is interest for the community. For example, in Saudi Arabia, in our media, we speak about the Saudi people interest, about our own concerns. When you look in our local channels, the Saudi media, and this is not because I am Saudi, present a service for the Arab media. If you speak about the media entities, like NBC, for example, recently, NBC 5, which is now talking to the Moroccan countries or even the Eastern countries, ERT, all these channels, they are Saudi and they are incubating many Arab people, Arab presenters, Arab media, and it was open for everybody. So the Saudi media is going along with the other media. NBC now, when we speak about, these are private channels, so it's profitable. We need to speak to the people because that will shape, will return more money, and that will open new channels. Thank you for your question. At the end of this symposium, I would like to thank all our kind speakers. I wish the Saudi media more success, and thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you very much for all the participants in the symposium about the Saudi media. And again, I would like to repeat in name of His Excellency Jamal Al-Suwaidi, our appreciation for all the participants and for you, the attendees. And thank you very much for your attention.